Despite our modern sensibilities, most of us, at least most of us here anyway, put a lot of weight in blessings. Sometimes they're casual, sometimes they're deeply intentional. We share or exchange them, especially during moments of transition and change. They can be as simple as Happy New Year or Shabbat Shalom, which are really just short blessings. They can also be as formal and public as Chazak Chazak V'nit Chazek, or the priestly blessing. They can be as personal as the words we share with loved ones at a wedding or a graduation or during a significant birthday. On this Shabbat, we mark a powerful confluence between the secular calendar and our Torah reading cycle. Yesterday, as you may have noticed, was New Year's Day for most of humanity. And we marked the beginning of 2026 with friends and family and strangers sharing blessings with one another. And this week, as we finish a book of Torah and prepare to read from a new one in the week ahead, we find our patriarch Jacob, who is readying himself to die. A good portion of the Parsha is full of the blessings, the words of blessing that he shares with those he knows and those he loves. So we have this moment in time we're living through full of blessing, and a moment of Torah full of blessing. Now, the thing about Jacob's blessings, though, is that while the Bible is full of beautiful blessings, Jacob's blessings are strange, which is a polite way for saying quite terrible. And if you want to know more about them, you can come tomorrow morning to Mishkan, where they will dive into some of these strange, perhaps terrible blessings. But there is one that I think at first glance anyway takes the prize for worst blessing ever. Here it is. May you proliferate like fish on the land. There it is. It takes a moment, but when you get it, you get it. May you proliferate like fish on the land. I wish I could say it sounds better in Hebrew, but it doesn't. Vayidgu lerov bekerev haaretz. And it's not about my pronunciation. It's about the fact that in the Hebrew, it seems to mean the same thing. Now, most of Jacob's blessings failed to inspire, but this one really confounded our ancestors. It seems that we've lost the meaning of this blessing to its poetry or to its idiomatic nature. We don't seem to really know what it means, because it's an important one. Jacob is blessing his grandchildren, Ephraim and Manasseh. These are Joseph's two sons. And it's very clear that Jacob means to imbue them with primacy of inheritance, with the most important status, even amongst all of his own children. Therefore, the blessings that they receive matter quite a bit. And yet this is what we get. May you multiply like fish on land, to our ears sounds more like a curse than a blessing. And even in our own day, being a fish out of water is an idiom for something that isn't going well, for a bad situation we find ourselves in. I would assume this was the same meaning to our ancient ancestors as well. But it's strange because the context is quite clear. This is supposed to be a blessing, not a curse. So something fishy is going on. Okay, that sets us up well for what is to come. Buckle up. The thing is, most of our modern commentators don't take the bait. Okay, yep, all right. It's not the last. They read fish out of the translation entirely. They translate this to be something like, may you spawn into a great number on the earth. This misses the mark, I think, for a number of reasons. Primarily, what our more ancient commentators note, which is that the word dagad does not reoccur anywhere else in Scripture to mean anything else but fish. So they really saw no way around the imagery since it is so central to the verbiage. Moreover, we already have imagery for the patriarchal promise of numerous descendants. Abraham told God, "I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the heaven and the sands on the seashore." So why would we not just reuse that language? We know that Torah loves to make intertextual allusions. Why introduce some new imagery here at the end of the story? The modern scholars who take the fish out of the interpretation, I think, are swimming upstream. Let's look at ancient, modern, pre-modern, and medieval commentaries that make more to do with this. The Talmud and Rashi suggest that the verse is really a wish that the evil eye will not impact Ephraim and Manasseh. And since most of us really don't know a whole lot about how the evil eye works anymore, we probably can't make heads or tails of this interpretation, so let me help. The laughter is getting less and less each time. All right, you see, fish living underwater are immune to the evil eye's effects. It appears that water is a barrier that the evil eye cannot penetrate. This is what we learn. So by sharing the blessing, "May you be on land like fish," Jacob perhaps is wishing for good fortune and divine protection. I suppose any fin is possible, but this all seems a bit far-fetched. That was the worst one, so even one guffaw is worth it. All right, another interpretation, this one modern, from Rabbi Meir Uri Gotzman, who suggests that Jacob uses fish imagery because, you see, there is no way for a kosher fish to become unkosher. Other animals like chicken or cows can be born kosher, but then become treif through the process of slaughter or inspection or soaking or salting, but it's just not the case with kosher fish. Therefore, Rabbi Gotzman says, Jacob here is basically giving a blessing that his descendants will always be faithful to the tradition, like fish will always be kosher. And while it's a nice drash, I think this kashrut business is a bit of a red herring. So another interpretation, one that I think feels right for this moment especially, comes from the Khatam Sofer, who suggests that the verse means that the continued existence of the children of Israel is as extraordinary as fish living on land. That there is something divine and miraculous about the survival and the endurance of Jews throughout the centuries. Now, this interpretation leans into the fishiness, basically saying, may your endurance be as miraculous as fish that survive on land. And I tell you, while it resonates for me, the premise itself suggests that Jews don't belong among the rest of humanity. It suggests we're so different that we could never be part of their world. And so, one. All right. And to me, I take issue with that we are so different, we don't even belong amongst the rest of the peoples. So my favorite interpretation comes from Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. He believed this blessing conveyed a deep significance about what it means to participate in the fate of Israel. He wrote about this verse, people standing on the shore are unaware of the vibrant, contented life going on below them in rich abundance under the sea from generation to generation. And marked that it's the same with the Jewish people. Most of the world has not met someone who is Jewish. They are unfamiliar with us and our people, unaware of the vibrant life teeming within Jewish communities all around the world. So Hirsch understands this blessing to mean, may your descendants live like fish in water, but in the midst of humanity on earth. We may be fish on land, surrounded by other cultures with their own values, but we build our own watery world on the land when we swim in the ocean of Torah. and live in the ocean of Torah. The only difference, I think, between Hirsch's sensibility and my own is that he claimed that the worlds that we Jews create are, in his words, impenetrable and unfathomable to those around us. And I don't think that's right. Just as a person can marvel at the beauty of a coral reef and want to sustain it and strengthen it and swim among it, so too I believe humanity can love and appreciate Jewish life in its richness and beauty and dignity. So as we mark a new year along with the rest of the world, and as we mark this Shabbat when we move from Bereshit to the book of Shemot, may Jacob's blessing be at the forefront of our hearts and our minds. May we thrive among the peoples of the world like fish in water. May we live among all of humanity while still living lives of Torah. May we dwell in the beauty of these two worlds while wrestling them as close to each other as possible. Shabbat Shalom and Happy New Year.